За ним! Руки наверху, бить! Еще! Не оставляй! За ним!
On 4 CDs or cassettes, simply called electric.
So we're looking at Andrei Mishin of Russia, and he takes on Nikolai Sieklocka of Yugoslavia. Now, ordinarily, I'd pick a Russian to beat a Yugoslavian 8 days a week, Ollie, but do you know anything about this guy?
Well, Andrei Mishin, he qualified for the Olympics, second attempt. So this is going to be an interesting contest.
So in the blue corner then, Mishin of Russia, the southpaw. And this is a really difficult name. Sieklocka, I think it is, from Yugoslavia. In the red, of course.
And according to my list, Loko hasn't qualified for the Olympics. So Mishin has, Loko hasn't. So you'd have to say the Russian would be the favourite.
Yeah. And Sieklocka got here into this semi-final by beating the Armenian Antonian. And Antonian, by the way, put out Stephen Maguire of Scotland in the prelim round.
Okay.
Mishin's also had to come through the prelims. He beat a Turk, Kazaz, and then beat the Belarus, Jara. So they've had a pretty tough road, these two, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, these are full entries, and they've had to box already a couple of times to get to where they are. It's been 4 contests all in all to win it. So they've done well. And Mishin, I remember Mishin. Mishin is the gentleman, I don't know if you remember, 2 years ago in Minsk, who Chris Bessie stopped for his his bronze medal.
I was wondering where I'd heard the name before. Of course, yes, and Mishin 1 point in front now. Yes, Chris Bessie, of course, who spurned these European championships, although he qualified to go for another ABA championship.
He's 6-1, and he's in the final.
Yeah. Will he win it?
He's got a tough contest against a young guy coming through from London, Thirlwell, from the Fisher Club. So that's going to be a very interesting contest.
So 20-odd seconds left then in this opening round. And a fairly steady pace set by these two men. And don't forget, of course, the heavier they get. This is the light middleweight division. The heavier they get, the slower they get.
That's right. I think from the middleweight division, it's a combination of the speed and the power of the heavier guys. So you're looking at more power now as we're moving up.
That's right. So they are then the light middleweight, the first light middleweight semi-final ends 1-1 after round 1. And Andrei Mishin of Russia is probably favourite to win this one.
Yeah.
Slightly shorter and but not really at a disadvantage, Audley.
No, and I think he's got his measure, and I don't think I think he had a look in that first round, even though they've probably seen each other in previous contests. You know, the Russians don't make it a disadvantage because they basically figure their opponents out before they go in the ring. They have a game plan, and they work with their advantages. Obviously, this is the weight where Ireland has a qualifier, Michael Roach.
That's right. And of course, Ireland have always done so, of the home countries, they've always done very, very well, haven't they? Throughout the last 100 years, you'll find the Irish always qualify far more than the Scots or the English.
Yeah, they locked themselves away. I mean, at this time, they've got 2 qualified, Michael Roach and Bernard Dunn, down at featherweight. And of course, obviously, there's me and Courtney Fry at super heavyweight and light heavyweight, respectively. So we're level, and hopefully we're going to go there and bring back the medals for Great Britain and Ireland, respectively.
Good, so here we go, round 2, and oh, nice right hand then from the Yugoslav, straight through the middle, but unfortunately that didn't get registered.
So this is typical European boxing. You wouldn't see this in the Oceanias or the Americas, or even the Asians, where you stand off and it's bouncing on your toes and looking to open up your opponents. Typical Eastern European styles from Mishin there.
Absolutely, and of course the old term for it used to be, you know, a very upright English boxer, didn't it?
That's correct.
Whereas the Americans, of course, like to crowd and crouch and chuck shots from all angles, don't they?
So it's important that these boxers make sure they go to all the major world international tournaments before the Olympics, even if it's just one, so they can expose themselves to different styles.
That's right. 119 days, of course, to go before the beginning of the Sydney Olympic Games, which will be covered live here on Eurosport. As ever. 2-2 now, 2 rounds gone, almost, and still a very tight one, this. And that's probably a reasonable reflection of the action we've seen, isn't it, Audley?
That's right. That's right. Definitely an even contest so far. Both looking to score with clean shots, and it's quite even, definitely.
And by the way, if anyone wants to find out anything about our Olympic coverage, you can always log on to the Eurosport.com website. If you want to say anything to any of the commentators at any time about any sport, you can do that. It's at the end of another even round. Well, here he is then. This is Andrei Mishin, boxing at 71 kilograms. That's about 11 stone, 154 pounds in English money. Up here against this Yugoslav Nikolai Shekloka, I think is how you say it. Not a bad guess.
I'm not even going to guess. In this weight, France has got someone qualified, Esther. Simeon.
Good boxer, Romania. Esther, isn't he?
Yeah, and Simeon from Romania. Katic from Germany. Russia, Mishin. Hungary, Ireland, Turkey, Bulgaria, and Italy.
So, third round then, the halfway point, and still all to play for here. And as I just mentioned, if you, in fact, it's 3-2 to the Russian boxer after 2 rounds. And looking good for him at the moment. As I mentioned before, there, if you do want to get in touch and find out more about our Olympic coverage, say log on to the Eurosport.com website. If you want to speak to any of the commentators, that's possible as well. Both Audley and I, of course, will get back to you. Although having seen Audley's particular email, he's got an awful lot in there that haven't been answered yet. Well, nice attack there from the Russian. Well, that's interesting. A standing count here against...
Don't know if that was warranted.
No, me neither.
It was a little burst, and let's just see what happens to Philip.
Yeah, interesting that. First standing count of the day.
And that's the thing with the Russians, like Mishin, he's boxing within himself, and he has got other gears.
Oops, and that's an untidy stumble by Mishin, helped down by the leading hand then. of Shekloka. Well, once again, Mishin powering forward here. Very untypical, really, of the Russian amateur style, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the amateurs, it's a contrast, actually. Some of the Russian team, they're boxers, they move away, they draw the leads, and some of them are pushing forward.
And the reason, of course, that Mishin is pushing forward like this is he can't stand back and afford to be boxed off at long range.
No, and they're very good at figuring that out early on in their contest.
And again, nice pressure here from Mishin.
Surprisingly, though, I'm sure he can see the screen, he knows he's ahead, he's pushing forward like he's behind.
Yeah. Well, that's because the man has got a fighter's mentality all day. I mean, you know, he enjoys what he does and wants to do it as effectively as possible.
So, I don't think he enjoyed it when Chris hit him on the chin, though.
Do you think he's over that?
Yeah, definitely. And then he was he was the Russian #2 then, back then. So he's obviously come on, and he's now the Russian #1. He's qualified for the Olympic Games.
That's right, and 3 points in front with just 2 minutes to go. And well, there's a few more people now arrived. Wonderful hall in Tampere in Finland, and of course you've been here before.
Really looking forward to the weekend. I think it's going to be packed out, and it's going to be a great atmosphere. I mean, the atmosphere is not bad now, for considering the time. When you consider that, you know, they put these shows on and they don't really think about the logistics, and that people actually work from 9 till 5, and they've got to earn a living. You know, and obviously the people who are unemployed can't afford the gate price. So,
yes,
you know, it needs to be on in the evenings or at the weekend. So I expect the weekends are going to be quite busy.
So replay there again of the punches that caused the standing count against the Yugoslav. And here he is, Nikolai Shekloka. So 4th and final round then, to see if Shekloka can overturn this deficit. He's 4 points behind, I think, coming out for this one. And we're still finding that this little Russian is thoroughly enjoying his boxing, isn't he?
Yeah, he's having fun. And the bottom line is he knows that what's in front of him, it can't hurt him. You know, and though he's got to keep focus, he knows he can push forward, because Loco is quite negative going back.
That's right. 22 years, in fact 21 years of age, Shekloka.
He's young.
Mishin is actually only 20.
Yeah. Good shot there from Mishin again.
In fact, no, Mishin will be 20 towards the end of May, so just a youngster at 19 years of age, and putting on a good show here. Definitely.
And obviously, if he goes through, he's going to be facing Katic from Germany. He's a quality performer. So I'm looking forward to that later on this afternoon.
Or Uzagin of Bulgaria.
Uzagin. Not aware of Uzagin. But he has qualified for the Olympics, Uzagin. So that should be an interesting contest.
So 4 points to gap now, and Mishin looking very strong, very determined, and doesn't want to settle for points win. He wants to finish this one sooner rather than later, but we're not seeing too many knockouts, or are we?
No, I mean, when you look at domestic boxing, you're seeing people get knocked out. At the top level, not too many KOs, quite a few standing counts, but there's not too many KOs. Normally the boxers know how to defend themselves, and so you don't see too many KOs. In the heavier divisions, I expect to see a couple, hopefully, because sometimes it's nice.
Well, let's face it, mate, you've got four bouts potentially to win a gold medal, so we're looking for 4 knockouts.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the way to do it, ideally, but, you know, the main thing is to go in there and win, and the knockout's a bonus.
Yeah. So 5 seconds then remaining, and it's a 6-3 win, surely now for this pugnacious Russian. Yes, indeed it is. Well done then. Good work there for Mishin. 6-3 it is. And as Audley so rightly said, he has the prospect of facing the German, Katya, or Dmitry Uzagin of Bulgaria in the final. That, of course, we'll be bringing you later on today. But this was the light middleweight semi. So Andre Mishin, then, young man, with a mission. And, we'll be seeing these two lads again, won't we, in Sydney?
We'll be seeing Mishin, but we won't be seeing Yugoslavia. Not this way.
More to come here. Stay with us.
Don't miss.
It's Alex Lebzyak of Russia, 31 years of age, against the 25-year-old Yugoslav Milorad Gajovic.
Yeah, Lebzyak, we've seen him before. He won the European Championships here 2 years ago. Won Best Boxer of the tournament. He's a quality performer. Obviously, he beat Courtney Fry in the final. So he's a quality performer.
That's right. And, of course, Gajovic is a bit of an unknown quantity, isn't he, for us? But he looks in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, he's won both his contests by big scores, 10-1, 11-1 in his previous contests. But Lebzyak, I think, will be a different proposition. And obviously, Gajovic hasn't qualified for the Olympics.
That's right. And Lebzyak, of course, has been around. In fact, he's been around. He was around since 1992 as a top-class performer, winning medals all over the world. Lovely stiff jab from Lebzyak. Good punch, that, isn't it?
Yeah, lovely. But I mean, the jab is the textbook proper. It's the quality punch. It's a punch you're meant to set everything up off. But in the amateurs, because they don't score it, a lot of boxers have started neglecting it.
That's right. And well, there's Yugoslav. They just got through with a decent right over the top. No score yet, though.
I mean, Lebzyak can be beaten. I remember last year, well, the end of '98, the Russia v USA duel. And Anthony Stewart, he was knocked out in the first round by Anthony Stewart. So
what punch was it?
I'm not sure. I think it was a big left hook. But so he can be caught round the side. Big left hook. So let's be interested to see if. Yeah.
That's right, and it's well, there you are. Look, Lebzyak 1-up. Well, 1-all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice though, isn't it, when you know that someone's got a little chink in the armour just to see if it can be exposed.
Definitely, and that can always give you heart. If you've got the right spirit and you stay in there, then that can always give you heart because you know that they can be caught. You just need to line it up.
Well, Lebzyak looks like a KGO pro, doesn't he, out there?
Yeah, I mean, he could turn pro and he could compete with the best of them. That if he will now, he's 31 years old.
Yeah.
But he'll be a threat at the Olympic Games, definitely.
So 119 days to go then, and let's just hope that none of these come a cropper before then with injuries. And let's hope that your rotator cuff injury heals itself properly.
Oh, I'm going to the Olympics with one hand if I have to.
Unlike Mr. Klitschko.
Yeah, strange that.
Well, 2-1 now to the Russian Lebzyak after round one. Pretty tight contest, this one so far. Gajovic of Yugoslavia giving him a few things to work out.
Definitely. That's the thing with Lebzyak likes to switch off, and when he comes in range, he likes to open up and have you backing off. And that's the time you've got to throw punches back. And Gajovic is definitely trying that game plan.
He might have been the best boxer once, but I don't think he was the best looking, was he?
No, he looks like he's been living in the cold for too many years. Come over to the west. We'll have you.
A very determined look on the face there of the Yugoslav, and there's still a lot of fight left in this one, I think.
Well, this is his tournament. I mean, there's no Olympic Games for him, so this is his tournament. So he's coming here and he wants to get the gold or silver medal. Although I think Lebzyak would like a gold or silver, and I think he'll happily settle for a bronze.
So Milorad Gajovic from Yugoslavia into round two here, a point behind against Alex Lebzyak of Russia. Nice approach.
Yeah, Lebzyak is stepping it up this round, and I think he has to.
Why?
Well, I think Gajovic gave him something to think about in the first round, and it wasn't as plain sailing as maybe he thought it might be. He's got somebody in front of him who wants to win.
Well, 3-1 now for Lebzyak. But it looks, I'll tell you something, it looks like Gajovic has got some power in that left hook of his.
And Lebzyak's got to be careful. But I think that's what Lebzyak's going to try and break him down now. It's going to be interesting to see if Gajovic stays on him.
Yes, Gajovic, they're trying to get the left hook flowing once again, but a big wide miss from him.
The thing is, as a performer, when you're in the ring and you've got an opponent who's a big name, and he's trying to force his presence on you, that's where your spirit comes into play, and that's where your composure comes into play, because you've got to maintain your composure. And it's very easy to lose your composure sometimes.
Interestingly there, Gajevic, a right hand from Lebzyak and got a point for it.
Yeah, interesting that. See, that's what Lebzyak likes to do. I mean, that's composure, confidence, knowing that you can stand on the ropes and take the shots on the gloves. Dangerous policy, though.
Well, not many points being registered here in this second round, but only a few seconds to go, and still Gajevic in with a shout.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a lots of scoring punches I scored in that round, and it was that was a good round. But again, it's the right man's ahead.
So Alex Lebzyak of Russia then, the light heavyweight representative, also going to the Sydney Olympic Games, up here against Milorad Gajevic of Yugoslavia. 3-2 in favour of Lebzyak, with a couple of rounds gone. And it looks like that nose has seen a few punches over the years, Audley, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but these Russians, I mean, I think Lebzyak has had over 300 contests. I mean, he's been around a long time, and you know, his face bears testament to that.
So Milorad Gajevic of Yugoslavia, they're not too far behind, only 3-2 behind, with 2 rounds to go, and still has the opportunity of closing the gap and causing a major upset by beating Alex Lebzyak of Russia. Can you see that being a realistic proposition, Audley?
Well, at the moment, it's definitely an even contest, and Lebzyak is just ahead. Now, that should score, and it has. So it's level now, and Gajevic is definitely in there with a shout. I mean, in terms of looking at this light heavyweight, Lebzyak, and I mean, this will be a hard contest for Courtney Fry, but I mean, Courtney's boxed him once before in the European final, and this is what Courtney's going to have to contend with.
Yes, a very competitive weight division, of course, the light heavyweight division. In fact, they all are, let's face it.
Yeah, but the light heavyweight is particularly very tough. You've got, you know, John Dovey, world silver medalist. You've got a Cuban, and then you've got such a strong European entry list as well. So the light heavyweights is definitely going to be tough.
That's right. The super heavyweights looks a bit softer, doesn't it?
The super heavyweight is probably definitely the most toughest out of the lot.
Well, here we go. Lebzyak now using that experience, coming from... well, he's coming from way back and getting himself nice and close here, and 5-3 up now. And this, of course, is the big difference, isn't it, between a world-class performer and a man who's trying to make his mark.
Yeah, Lezyak's seen it all before. There's nothing new in there. He's seen it all before, and it's just about him figuring them out. But he's a bit complacent, dropping his hands when he's in range.
But he's always done that, hasn't he?
He's always done that, which is why Anthony Stewart knocked him out. And he's got to be careful. He's got to respect the opponent's power, because from middleweight up, as we said before, you can get taken out.
So inside the final 20 seconds of round 3, and Alex Lebzyak, I think it's fair to say he's enjoying himself out there.
And that's one thing. I mean, boxing, people say, is a tough sport, but it's important to go in there and enjoy your trade. You know, the hard work's done in the training grounds and in the early morning runs in the morning. This is meant to be the fun part.
That's right. No, only 1 point between these two. And it's a round to go, and I tell you something, although Lebzyak looks by far and away the better fighter, I tell you what, this Gajevic can come back and cause a surprise.
I expect him to come out guns blazing for this last round. I don't think Lezyak's going to be getting called to do any modelling work if he wins the Olympic Games.
Any
modelling work?
Modelling work, not like yourself.
No.
Here we go, then, bit of replay here. Nice right hand then. A left hook from Lebzyak, sending Gajevic off balance. And there you are, there's the old pro trick. Just shuffles the shoulders, drops the hands.
He could box as a professional quite easily. And, you know, you look at the fighters and you think, well, can they make the transition to professionals? And I think Lebzyak is definitely one, if he wanted to pursue that.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. So fourth and final round then, and Milorad Gajevic has got an opportunity here of really upsetting the apple cart. He's not going to Sydney, is he?
No, it's a shame. He looks like he was good enough. He's good enough to go and compete in the Olympic Games, but he didn't get through in any of the qualifiers. Just having a look at the list who's qualified: Russia, Romania, Azerbaijan, Bulgaria, Ukraine, France.
Oh, certainly a big stiff right then, and a standing count here against Gajevic, and
doesn't agree with it, but
it's not going to count anything more against him.
No.
But they picked up a point there. 6-4 now to Lebzyak. You were saying?
Yeah, just to finish off, it was Czechoslovakia, the Italian Fragomelli, who was the heavyweight, who's gone down, and England's Courtney Fry. So that's the 9. As I said before, it's 9 at each weight, except for super heavyweight and heavyweight, who have 7 from the European division. So that's 2 clean shots he's taken.
One of them got picked up.
Yeah, and there's no need for it. Now he's making it a close contest again.
Yeah, 6-5 now to Lebzyak. I'd say he was winning this one a lot more comfortably than 6-5, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd agree. But and then at the same time, Djokovic has always been in the contest.
Yes. Well, it's a good old tear-up, this one. And Gajevic playing his part here in this light heavyweight semi-final.
Good contest.
But the least he can do, of course, is go home with a bronze. Looks like it's the most he's going to do as well.
I think he's levelled it up with that
Oh,
hook.
he has.
Yes.
Look at that. Well, we might be going to the first count back, Audley.
Yeah, which will be interesting, because actually Lebzyak will probably be way ahead on the individual count.
Oh, he will, yeah.
But let's see if he can land another punch, Gajevic, because that will be an upset.
Yeah, if Gajevic lands one clean punch and they can see it,
Oh, yeah.
well, it's all over now.
Well, you never know. 14 seconds to go. You can hear the corner screaming, because they know he's 1 point down.
He needs to land a blinding punch that everyone can see.
Lezin just landed another shot there.
Yeah. Well, it's all over, I'm afraid, for Gajevic, but at least he can say he pushed this man very, very close. Well done.
Very commendable performance from Gajevic.
Good match, wasn't it?
Great match. And I mean, that was an exciting contest. And hopefully it's the passions of the people watching at home.
Well, that's the 5th, or is it maybe even the 6th Russians through to the finals. In fact, we've just qualified 2 of them here today. In fact, 3 of them here today. To go, yeah, I think it's 6 through already, and a chance for Alexei Lezin to make it 7.
Later on.
Later, well, in fact, we're coming up very shortly after this, in fact.
Yeah.
So Lebzyak gets it 7-6 then, but a good effort, we think, from Milorad Gajevic, and that's going to set him up, I think, for a pretty useful career, isn't it? Right, we're going to have another short commercial break, but we're going to be back with the super heavies. Harrison has an interest. Kilogram plus division, the super heavyweights, and we've got Cengiz Kok from Germany against Alexei Lezin of Russia. They're going to become Russia's 7th finalist. There he is, Alexei Lezin, the man you know well, of course, Audley. More of that a bit later. 27 years of age now. Up against, as we say, Cengiz Kok of Germany. Now, you fought the pair of these. Tell us about it.
Yeah, in the first Olympic qualifier in the semi-finals, I lost to Lezin in the semi-finals. And really, it was just tactical, I got it all wrong. Lezin's very good on his feet, moves away, and basically you can't be ponderous with him looking for one shot. And then in the next qualifiers, semi-finals again, I boxed Cengiz Kok out in Turkey, losing a diabolical decision as far as I was concerned and everybody else who was in the venue. So I boxed both of them, and I've lost to both of them, but definitely looking to turn it around if we meet again.
So there you are then, Alexei Lezin in the blue, and Cengiz Kok, and he's got very tight defence, hard to nail, isn't he?
Cengiz Kok, as you can see in the red, all he does is keep his hands up really tight, so nothing gets through, and he just, no power at all, and he just throws his punches out. And as you see with Lezin, he just bounces and moves away. So different styles, and so it was good that I faced both of them, because they're very different in their styles, and it's nothing that we can't get right the next time we meet.
Didn't it occur to you to whack Cock down the belly?
Oh yeah, I mean, Cock's nose was a mess. I mean, he couldn't box the final. He actually had a broken nose. He couldn't actually box his final. And I was throwing lovely uppercuts, which the judges just were refusing to register.
That's right.
So it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, I mean, if I were the referee, I'm afraid I'd have to say to Cengiz Cock, hey, hang on, a boxing match, you've got to start throwing punches.
And he doesn't. And I don't know how he registered 6 points against me. But, you know, it's boxing politics.
Yeah. But when he does throw them, Audley, are they painful punches or not?
No. You can actually put your hand. I mean, I'm not being disrespectful. He's obviously good at what he does in terms of computer scoring, like the Germans are. He keeps his hands up tight. And you can see what Lezin does. Lezin just stays on his toes on the outside. And basically, so you can't look for one punch with Lezin. You've got to pressure him.
Right, half a minute to go then, and Cengiz Cock is a point in front. Well, I'm very surprised. Lezin should have registered there. 3 punches got through on the head very cleanly.
Lezin is the reigning European champion. He won this 2 years ago in Minsk.
And I expect you had to chase him pretty hard, didn't you?
Yeah, and that's where I got it wrong. I was chasing him, but looking for one shot rather than throwing clusters of punches. I was throwing one shot.
Well, Cengiz Cock then on the verge of an upset here, because he's not expecting to win this one, is he, Audley?
No, I mean, Cengiz Cock wasn't around previous. He came around last year at the World Championships. He went out first stage, 5-5 to account back to Turkey. Sam Similian, who I lost to 4-3, and that was the first we'd really heard of him. Then he went to the first qualifiers and he was stopped in the 3rd round by Vidos, and then he qualified at the 2nd attempt.
That's right, because you've actually beaten men that have beaten these two.
Yeah, that's right. Vidos stopped Cengiz Cock in the 3rd round, and in the first qualifier he beat Lezin 2-1. And obviously in the European qualifiers out in Greece, I beat Vidos 5-3. So, you know, I've beaten a man who's beaten both of them, so that gives me a lot of confidence.
Good man. Well, we wish you all the very best, obviously. And just a shame that you couldn't be here as a fighter.
Yeah, it is a shame.
At least you get a chance to sit back and enjoy and watch what's you potentially will need to face.
That's right. And Vidos, we'll be seeing him later on because he's in the other semi-final.
That's right. Yes, later on today we'll be showing the other semi-final of all the matches we've seen today, the other side of the draw. But back to this then, Cengiz Cock, the German, the shorter man of the two, doesn't look like he's worth a 2-point lead here, does he? No,
but as you see, Lezin's throwing the shots, but they're hitting the gloves. And the judges are going to be reluctant to press it when they're seeing the shots hitting anything that doesn't look like a nose or a chin.
So otherwise, then, it's a very good tactic by Cock.
This is what I'm trying to say. It's tactically a good style, and it's how do you beat this guy? Do you break him up, or do you fiddle like Lezin's doing, trying to open up? And obviously the fiddle is not working, which is how I boxed him for the first round.
So come on, how are you going to beat him?
Well, basically how I boxed him from the rest of it. I took it to him and I had him backing up, and he didn't like it. He can't really box on the back foot.
How much shorter is he than you?
He's about 6'2". 6'2".
So 3 inches shorter.
Yeah.
And he beat you.
Not fairly and squarely, I hasten to add.
I know.
He had the help of 5 people around the ringside.
Yes. Well, now this German has got 3 points to the good in front.
And watching this contest, you'd say, how is he 3-1 ahead? But, you know, computer scoring.
And another thing, by the way, that's worth pointing out, that especially in Liverpool, the judges were appointed, and then there's an awful lot of shenanigans going on. They actually managed to change the judging panel around at certain times to suit certain nations, just to ensure they got the right result.
Yeah, it's totally ridiculous. I mean, at the end of the day, the judging is meant to be done, drawn out of a hat, independently, and you're meant to have, you know, it's meant to be a random thing, and sometimes it's been seen. Maybe that's not happening.
Well, we know it wasn't happening. We know for absolute certain there was changes at the last moment up in Liverpool, and obviously in other tournaments as well. It's just a shame that the ABA of England did not have the spine to deal with the problem in Liverpool, Audley.
Well, unfortunately, when you have any boxing which is conducted in Europe, you have the governing body who run it.
So Cengiz Kok then from Germany there, and sitting very badly in the corner, isn't he? I mean, that's ridiculous. The arms should be down in between your legs.
Taking deep breaths through your nose, out your mouth.
He's not a particularly, I hate to say that, he's not a very professional amateur, is he?
No, and his style is so ungainly. I mean, you wouldn't want to be seeing this guy in the Olympic Games final. And that's no disrespect to Cengiz Kok.
No, it is.
Well, in the nicest possible way. You know, but his style is almost like...
It's not a boxer.
It's cheating, you know, he tucks up. Yeah, he's 4-1 ahead, so he's obviously doing something right, but
we don't like it, do we?
No.
So the halfway point then, Cengiz Kok of Germany in the red strip in action here against Alexei Lezin of Russia, and something of an upset on the cards now. Kok 4-1 up, and Lezin, well, I'm afraid he's finding it difficult to land on the target here, but we don't like the look of Cengiz Kok. This is not boxing.
And what he's doing, obviously, as well, he's making Lezin throw his punches, and then he's throwing the little hook round the outside, which he was catching him. I mean, Lezin can't get through that guard.
What about the uppercut?
But this is a shot that I use quite effectively against him. See, Lezin's, but I mean, look, when Lezin moves to left, that's the time to catch him, which Cengiz Kok is throwing.
He's very good at what he does, Kok, isn't he? But yeah. I'm afraid we don't like what he does.
And you'll see if he boxes Vidos again in the final, you'll see if Vidos will just take it to him, and he'll just take it into the pit. And that's what maybe the way to do it. Open him up, because you're not going to beat him by taking it on the gloves.
Well, I'm not too
sure. One got through there.
Well, it did, didn't it?
And they scored it.
4-2 then. One more round, of course, for Lezin to try and level things up after this one. And if it's a count back, Lezin's going to walk it, isn't he?
Hands down.
And can Kok take a body shot?
He was kind of singing to me when I was letting him go a few body shots, so I don't think he likes it downstairs. But as we already said, 4 rounds is sometimes not enough to break somebody down, and it's not like you really need to slow him down. It's not like he's the quickest on his feet, so I thought Lezin landed a good solid jab there.
Yes, me too. Well, Lezin's going to go home, I'm afraid, empty-handed, because he can't have done much better, could he?
No.
And that's a 4-2 lead still for this German. And I'll tell you what, that's very disappointing for Lezin. Throwing a lot of leather. All right, admittedly, it's not landing on the target area. The head guard doesn't count. And he's paying the price here.
Similar to how our contest was. I mean, if you're watching, if that was me boxing him, it was similar. And obviously, I hit much harder than Lezin. It was me driving shots home, similar to that. And I was obviously aware from the second round that they weren't getting through, so I was looking for the uppercuts, and nothing was getting through. And this guy was just putting his hands up, chugging forward, and he was 6-1 ahead. It was just diabolical.
Yes. Well, Marshall, of course.
Yeah.
Here we go then, 4th and final round. Alexei Lezin of Russia in the blue has got a lot of work to do here to try and break down Cengiz Kok of Germany. He's 2 points behind, and looking as if he's about to go out in the semi-final stage of the European Championships. The good thing, all right, he's got one back. The good thing about it, though, of course, both of these men have qualified for the Sydney Olympics, so we'll be seeing them again.
Yeah, and it's a great achievement, really, for Cengiz Kok and Lezin. You know, Cengiz Kok's just come around. He's going to the Olympic Games, and as we know, that's every boy's dream. So, you know, he's on the verge of living out his dream. Lezin's been to the Olympics before, as you know, experienced campaigner, and you can see him applying the pressure. He's drawn it level.
And Order, I want you to take this tape home and study it for the next 3 or 4 months.
I will.
For the next 119 days.
I'm taking this home.
If only you could punch, eh? Anyway, a minute to go in the fourth and final round, and well, here we go now. It looked like the Russian landed a good backhand left there, but it didn't count.
It might register now they've had the break.
And I'll be interested to see if this does go to a count back, because, as I say, you know, Alexei Lezin is an absolute street in front for punches thrown. A nice left hand again, catching cock there, and it did go.
Right, and this is, now we've got it how it should be.
The right man is now in front, at last.
The scores are wrong, but the right man's in front. It'd be interesting to see if Lezin boxes Vidos in the finals. He's already lost to him once. It'd be interesting to see if he fancies that.
Did that go to points?
Yeah, he won 2-1, Vidos, but it was very uncomfortable for Lezin.
And we've seen quite a few pull-outs, aren't we, at crucial stages, because they just don't fancy it.
Yeah, I mean, they know they want to save it. They know they could beat each other in the Olympics again. They've already boxed a couple of times, so they're obviously going to save it for the Olympics.
Well, 6-4 now, and it's bad news here for Cengiz Koch, who's gone 2 points behind for the first time in the match, and it's all happened for Lezin in this final round. He's picked up 3 points, in fact.
That's lovely. It's good boxing from Lezin. He hasn't been deterred by the guard, and he's carried on throwing the punches, and eventually they had to register.
That's right. So good win then, ultimately, for Alexei Lezin, and I'm delighted for him because, as I say, he's the man who should have won the match. And I think he's the 7th finalist now for the Russians. I'll check that later. So there's the German, and that's Cengiz. Not happy with that, but he'll have the chance of avenging that defeat when they get to Sydney, because they won't be boxing each other again before then, will they?
No. They might meet each other in a couple of the multinations, but unlikely.
No point, is there?
No.
So 6-4 then, and a very close run thing then for Lezin. He had to pull out all the stops to win 3 points in the final round. Good win for him, though, and gets himself in the final.
And Lezin's a nice guy as well. I like Lezin. He's a nice guy on the circuit. He's very pleasant.
So that's the end of our first presentation of today for you for the semi-finals. We've got the second set of semi-finals for you, of course, later on this afternoon, early evening. And it's 6 o'clock CET, 5 o'clock, of course, UK time. But straight after this programme, we're going to bring you, you lucky people, a repeat of yesterday's semi-finals. So you have a chance then to see just exactly what these people are up against. So there you are. That's coming next, a repeat of yesterday's boxing. And, of course, we'll be back for another live session later on this afternoon, 6 o'clock CET, 5 o'clock UK. Bye-bye.